What's up YouTube, Diabelle here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you the first profile post Doom of Dimensions, and that is going to be the almighty Black Rose Dragon. Now, as just a note in general, remember that we are going to be getting Akiza decks in November, so it's definitely worth, if you are a fan of the deck in general, making sure you pick up the brand new Black Rose cards. Now, this build I'm going to show you, in my opinion, is the most competitive version of the deck. Now, if you wanted to, of course, there is a bit of space in the main deck to start to add additional engines if you want to go down the K9 route and everything else in between. This one, as a shout out to Trinity Yugioh, is actually involving the Diabelle star. Now, it's a very small engine. It's only an engine of like 6 to 7 cards. And what can happen with that engine is you can take that engine out and that can become the adventure package. You can take that engine out and then it would then become stuff like Lone Fire Blossom and make it more Akiza themed if you want to. So what I'm going to do is I thought I would start off with the most competitive version around. And then if you guys want to see it, I'll make it a more Akiza themed version and kind of work it from there. But the whole idea with the White Forest and then the Diabelle star cards is to make it as competitive as possible, to give it another edge, to give that ability to enhance its synchro plays, as well as then giving it the ability to get to an Omni Negate so you're protected from the Beerus as you make your plays going forward. I'll also show you a very powerful 2-card combo at the end of the video as well, and again, shout out to Trinity. I'm going to put a link into the description below of his combo video, because his combo video, he goes through like 5 different scenarios, and I think it'll be really, really kind of cool if you're looking to build a deck like this, what you can be looking for. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So starting off with the Red Rose cards themselves, or the Rose Dragon cards themselves, we're going to be playing 3 of the Red Rose Dragon. Now this is the one that kind of makes it available to play with the Adventure Package for the pure fact that it's a level 3 tuner that doesn't have an on-summon effect. So if this card is sent from the to the graveyard as synchro material, you get special on a Rose Dragon from the hand or deck except itself. So the idea is you're going to lean into your most important Rose Dragon right now, being your Rocks Rose Dragon, and I'll talk about that in a second. If this card was sent to the graveyard for a synchro of a Black Rose Dragon or a Plant Synchro, you can add a Frozen Rose or a Blossom of the Darkest Rose from the deck to your hand. Now, we're not playing either of those cards for the pure fact that they're technically bricks, and like, you're very rarely going to be sending this specifically for a plant, and for Black Rose Dragon. If it was like a Black Rose Dragon monster, we would have been a better scenario, because then of course Bramble Rose and everything else, like a Rose Dragon monster, would have been much more helpful. Then your ideal normal summon or your starter of the deck, which is why we're not playing the adventure package, is on normal or special, you get to add a card that specifically lists Black Rose Dragon in its text from the deck to the hand. So that's going to get you to the brand new card, Black Rose Garden, and this card is absolutely mental for the entire deck. It looks amazing as well. I'd love to see this in Starlight. Then on top of that as well, that this one has the ability that while this card is in your graveyard, if a face-up Rose Dragon monster or monsters or a plant synchro you control is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you get to add this card back to the hand. So you get to recycle your starting resource, which is amazingly important. And then for the last one off for the Rose Dragons, we've got the one White Rose Dragon. You don't really want to max this out because, again, if you're going to max this out, this would be on a pure Akiza build for the pure fact that this one is when this card is specifically normal summoned. So you can't use it with the adventure package, and you don't want this to be your starter. Like, you want Rocks Rose to be it, and you kind of want to utilize the Diabelle Star Witch package to help get you a little bit further forward. So it's not a bad one to start off with, but it's not one you want to, because you get the special amount of Rose Dragon monster from your hand or grave except itself. So again, it's like, for me to have this effective, I need to hard open up the Rocks Rose, or I need to hard open up the Red Rose, and then I can start making my synchro plays. So it's not something I want to be starting with, and that's kind of where in another version, like I said, a pure Akiza version, not the adventure package, you'll play this at 3. And then for the other ones of the brand new cards, we are on 3 of the Vengeful Witch. Now, you can play 2 of this if you want to, and it really kind of comes down to the ratios between the Vengeful Witch and your Twilight Rose Black Knight of how you'd want to play it. So these are the 2 new cards from Doom of Dimensions. So you can control Black Rose Dragon or a monster that mentions it, or a plant synchro monster. You get special on this card from the hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add a synchro monster is on the field. You get to discard a card and then special on a plant monster with 15 or less attack. There we go. From or defense from your deck. You can't special summon from the edge deck for the rest of the turn except synchros, which is absolutely fine. So the idea is your Vengeful Witch will then get you access to your Twilight Rose Black Knight. And then while you control a synchro monster, which plant monster you control gain 1,000 attack. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is normal or special, you get special on a Black Rose Dragon or a level 4 or lower plant monster from the grave, but you negate its effect. So again, Vengeful Witch gets you into your Twilight Rose, and then your Twilight Rose brings back the Vengeful Witch, and you've got a level 3 tuner, and then a level 4 non-tuner, and that's your Synchro level 7, being something like your Bramble Rose. So you can kind of see where the new cards have added that next layer of synergy. Post Forbidden Limited list, we also get to play one Glart Bulb. Just that ability to get you that level 1 tuner back in rotation can help you turn a Black Rose Dragon into a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and that's when you're going to be able to get another layer of protection, specifically against Nibiru. Then the brand new, this card is the one, is Black Rose Garden. So when this card is activated, you get to add a Rose Dragon monster from the deck or grave to the hand. All face-up monsters on the field become plant monsters. If this card is destroyed, inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each plant monster in your graveyard and or banishment. Then if this card was destroyed by the effect of a Black Rose Dragon, you inflict 2,400 damage to your opponent. You can only use each effect once per turn, and you can only activate one Black Rose Garden per turn. But the idea is that Rox Rose gets you access to this gets you access to Rox Rose. You can kind of see the synergies bouncing between each other. And the idea behind this one is being able to activate this, grabbing you a Rose Dragon monster means that you're increasing consistency of your Red Rose. If you start off with Rox Rose, you go normal summon Rox Rose, search out Black Rose, get Red Rose, and then vice versa, and work your way around. Then for the Diabelle package, so we're going to be on 3 Diabelle. The idea is you want to max out the consistency of this card, so you've got 3 Diabelle, plus you're going to be playing 3 Wanted Seacard Sinful Spoils. And then for the White Forest / Azamina cards, you're going to be playing 1 Elzette, 1 Deception, and 1 Hollowed Azamina. The idea is that when you're going to be able to work your way through these, your Hollowed Azamina works you into your Fusion, being either your Rusiliago, or it's going to be going into your Sylvie, which is your Omni Negate to protect you, which will come off the back of Deception. And then you can also get to search out your Azamina of the White Forest, which becomes an extended level 2 monster, which can be very, very useful for some of your tuner plays as well. Help you get into your synchros. More times than not, it's going to be working your way into a synchro level 5, because in an ideal scenario, what you're trying to do is with a Red Rose Dragon, which we'll see in the combo at the end, plus your Azamina of the White Forest, it then gets you into your Garden Rose Maiden. And your Garden Rose Maiden is probably like one of the best cards to get to the grave, because it has that banish effect to revive a Rose Dragon, and you're going to be able to try and revive your Bramble Rose Dragon, which is just insanely good for the deck as well. Then we do play 2 additional like one-off bricks you don't really want to see, which is why you can kind of bump the deck up a little bit higher. So you got your Black Garden, and then we've got the 9 Pillars of the Yang Xing. Because you're able to make level 5 synchros, you can actually make your Denglong. And the reason you're going to be playing this is you want that counter track in here to help you deal with anything. Like if your opponent is on a breaker build, you want to be a little bit more protective. It is a card that I would personally say you could shuffle into the side deck, because it's one of the ones that if you go first, amazing. If you go second, not so great. So it's one of the ones you could afford to cut this out and put it in the side deck, and then slide it in when you know you're guaranteed to go first. It also takes a little bit of reliance off of the Denglong. It is a cool addition, and I want to show it in the combo just like Trinity did as well, so you can have a bit of an idea behind it, or why you use it. But honestly, I think it's not so much a win more, it's just another layer of protection that you may or may not need in certain scenarios. But it's still very, very good, and usually more times than not, if the 2-card combo at the end of the video goes off, you're probably going to win, because like what you're setting up on your field is just incredibly powerful. Moving on to the hand traps. So for the hand traps, we've got 3 Moltrami Fulos, and then we've got 3 Ashlosman Joyous Spring, 1 Bestial Magnamut, 3 Infinite Impermanence. Now this is a biased choice of mine on the next one, but you can take it out completely if you want to. Like I said, I love any deck that can utilize this card, and I do kind of find myself adapting the deck, whether it be for better or worse, to utilize this card, and that's Dominus Impulse. Now, with Dominus Impulse, what you've got to be very, very careful of is you do play some light monsters. So you play light monsters, you play wind monsters in your extra deck. But the way that I saw it was, if I'm going first, Dominus Impulse is a card that I'll be setting, I won't be using it from my hand. If I'm going second, then I'm going to use Dominus Impulse from my hand, and all that will turn off is Crystal Wing, and then it will turn off the Elzette. And it's like, okay, well, if I kind of make sure that I can play around those, because I'll have the access to the Deception rather than that, and I'll go a little bit more direct, then I can still use the Impulse. If you don't want to play this and you don't want to worry about those attribute kind of clashes, you take this out very easily. It can become a third Nibiru, should you want to. It can become Ghost Ogres, it can become Ghost Bells, it goes Ghost Mourners, you name it, you change it up, Effect Veilers, entirely up to you. It is a personal biased opinion on this one, like a personal biased choice on this card, just because I love the card in general, but you don't have to play it. Keep that in mind, don't have to play it. If you don't have access to it, change it out. As I said with the Diabelle Star Engine, which I'll quickly just highlight again for you so you can see all of the cards that we're going to need now that I've mixed up the deck. Classic. So with this package here, The reason it makes it a little bit better than the adventure package is it still allows you to have your normal summon of your Rock's Dragon. And then on top of that as well, it also gives you the ability, I believe that is everything, yeah. It also gives you the ability of just extending a little bit more. It gives you your draw off of the back of the wanted. So it's a bit of a mess, apologies for that one. So you got your 3 wanted, very simple. Your 3 Diabelle, also very simple. Should be relatively cheap to have these 6 cards. And then you've got these cards here as well. So it's like a 9 card engine, but then this 9 cards can become your adventure package, which would be, you know, like 3 Right, 3 Water Enchantress, and you've got your Draco, the Equipped, the Griffin, and the Adventure. So that's your 9 cards. It can also become 3 Lone Fire Blossom, 2 more White Rose Dragons, and then you've got 4 more cards which can become other plant monsters. I quite liked utilising the generator cards in the previous build that I did for Akiza, but again, that's entirely up to you. It can become Spore and everything else in between. Just gives you an idea of what level you're looking for. Moving on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 of the brand new Bramble Rose Dragon. Now, if I had a third, I probably would play a third, but this card's just absolutely insane because it is a plant, it's not a dragon. So it requires a plant tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Each time your opponent activates a monster effect, inflicts 600 damage to your opponent. And if you do, all monsters your opponent currently controls lose 600 attack. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. During your main phase, you get a quick event to tribute this card to special summon a Black Rose Dragon from the extra deck, and it is treated as a synchro summon. You can banish this card from the graveyard to special summon a level 4 or lower plant tuner from your graveyard. So again, gives you access to the Twilight Knight. Twilight Knight then brings back the Vengeful Witch, and then you go into another Bramble Rose. The other new card that we're playing is going to be 2 of the Rage Rose Witch. So 1 tune up plus 1 or more non-tune up. Plant monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you get to send up to 1 plant each from your extra deck and or deck to the graveyard. You can't special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except synchros, and then if a card or cards on the field is destroyed by card effect while this is in the graveyard, you get to special summon this card. Now the benefit of something like your Rage Rose is it can actually let you send your Garden Rose Maiden from the extra deck, which I think is probably like one of the best targets to send from the extra deck, and I'll talk about this a little bit later on. But this one has the ability to banish this card from the graveyard to target a Rose Dragon monster or a Dragon Synchro in your graveyard and special summon it back. So that's when you're going to get more usage out of the back of that. We're on 2 Black Rose Dragon. You can play Moonlight if you wanted to. I've chosen not to for that one. I just like the 2. Well, these are the same card, by the way. They're just all arts. But yeah, Black Rose Dragon I think is really kind of cool. And the fact that when you're trying to end your field, you're trying to end your field with like a combination of the Bramble Rose plus your Rage Rose. So that when you tag out the Bramble Rose, you bring out your Black Rose, and then your plant monsters can't be destroyed by your card effects as well. So nothing happens, which is really, like for your kind of plants. Yes, you use the Black Rose Dragon, but you kind of nuke your opponent's entire field, which is still going to be very, very important. I've then got the 1 Ruddy Rose Dragon. So with the Ruddy Rose Dragon, it is a level 10 synchro. You should all know what this card is by now, but just like look how beautiful the Rose Dragons are. So if this card is synchroed, you get to banish all cards from the graveyard, and then if this card was synchroed using Black Rose Dragon or a plant synchro, which is very easy to do now, you get to destroy all other cards on the field. When your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy a card or cards, quick effect, tribute this card, negate the activation, and then special summon a Black Rose Dragon from the extra deck or grave, which is going to be very easy to do because you're going to be playing Black Rose like no tomorrow. And then for your other generic synchros, I've got 1 of the FA Dawn Dragster, 1 of the Crystal Wing, 1 Denglong, backed up wide 2 Garden Rose Maidens. Now you'll actually summon one of these and you can actually send the other one if you wanted to. So it is the plant, it is a level 5 and it is generic. If it is special summoned, you get to add a Black Garden from the deck or grave to the hand. You get to banish this card from the grave to then target a Rose monster or a Dragon Synchro monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use each effect once per turn. And then the penultimate cards is the 1 Cross Rose Dragon. And then this one gives you the ability, so it's 2 monsters with different types, so again, plants and dragons. And then during the main phase, you get a quick event to tribute this card and a plant monster, special summon a Rose Synchro or a plant Synchro monster from the extra deck, and it is treated as a Synchro summon. If a monster or monster you control is destroyed by card effect while this card is in the grave, except during damage state, you banish it and then special summon a Rose Dragon monster from the grave. Only use each effect once per turn. And then the final 2 cards will be your Azamina cards, being your 1 Sylvie as your Omni Negate and your Ruse Suliago to give you that draw, search out for Wanted, search out for LZ should you need to, and it just lets you loop around to give you the resources you're going to need. So that's it for the entire main deck. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 2-card combo, which is absolutely insane. Now this is the perfect 2-card combo for the deck. It is relatively consistent because of the pieces that you have to get to there. But then what I'll also do, like I've said, is I'll put a link in the description below to Trinity's full combo video, and you'll get to see all of the combos that they're going to be playing around with, so you can kind of have a bit more of an idea of how this particular version of the deck works. Anyway, I'll be back in a second. The best combo for this deck is going to proceed as follows. Now, as mentioned, I'm going to be putting a link to Trinity's combo video in the description down below so you can see everything like that and then check out his version of this deck as well. But this is how you're going to want to proceed. So you're going to start off by summoning down the Diabelle, discarding that one random card in your hand. This will then get you direct access to Deception. Activate Deception, triggering off the Diabelle to give you access to Hallowed. Activate Hallowed, send in Deception, and get you into your Yugioh. Yugioh's effect is now going to allow you to grab your LZ, so now you're in this particular position here. Reminder that you still have 2 more random cards in your hand, so if you already hard open up either pieces of these, you can go that little bit further forward. Normal summon down your Red Rose, and then special summon down your LZ. Now we're currently on summon number 4. You're then going to synchro your Red Rose plus your LZ, and you're going to get yourself into your Garden Rose Maiden. You're now going to trigger a chain of events. Now, usually you're probably going to want the Garden Rose to be the last one to protect your Red Rose and your LZ from like Ash Blossoms or any particular search type. So you'd probably go Chain Link 3 Garden Rose to get you your Black Garden. Chain Link 2, I would say, is the most important, being your Red Rose to get you access to your Rock Rose. And then, of course, on top of that, you'll also then be able to utilize your LZ to then get you hold of Wanted, Seeker, Sinful Spoils. Now, as you resolve all of this, your Wanted gets added to your hand, as does the Black Garden, but then your Rocks Rose gets special to the field. Now, at this particular moment here, if your opponent does Nibiru you, remember you still have Wanted, you've still got the Hollowed Azamina to recycle, you can then bring back the Rocks Rose and everything else in between. You're still going to be able to get the effect of the Rocks Rose that it was summoned to then add you a Black Rose Garden from the deck to the hand. So you're still going to be able to get pretty much everything you need to, and the next play you're going to make will be able to get you access to your Azamina, Sylvia, so you're still in a very, very good position. Now, if they haven't Nibiru'd you here, what you're going to do is you're going to use your Garden Rose and your Yugioh. Remember, your Garden Rose also has that graveyard effect to come back from the grave as well. This is going to get you access to your Cross Rose Dragon. Now, the reason you do it now before you activate Black Rose Garden or anything else in between is that this requires 2 monsters with different types. So you used an illusion and a plant. Whereas if you activate this, all of your cards become plants. So very, very important on that one. Now that we've got the maximum value out of the Yugioh, we're going to put this back into the extra deck and grab us back the Hollowed Azamina. We're then going to be able to activate the Hollowed Azamina, and we're going to chain the Wanted, Seeker, Sinful Spoils. So resolve your Wanted to grab you access to your Diabelle, and then resolve the Hollowed Azamina, send in the Wanted to get you access to your Sylvie. Now, this is the first card you need to make sure goes into defense position, because as we're planning to fill up our opponent's field with tokens, you don't want them to be able to use that token to attack one of your monsters, destroying the token, and then open up their space for them to start to combo, because all it takes is 1 space, and you might be in a little bit of trouble, so remember that. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to activate our Black Rose Garden. You can also activate the Black Garden as well prior to this. It doesn't really make much of a difference either way around you do it. With the Black Rose Garden, you're going to be able to add your White Rose Dragon to your hand. And now we're going to start to fill up our opponent's field with tokens. So at this position here, because we control a plant tuner and technically a dragon tuner, so it doesn't make much of a difference either way, you could special summon down your White Rose Dragon. In doing so, mandatory chain link is going to give your opponent 1 rose token. Now what you're going to be able to do is you're going to use your Cross Rose Dragon effect to tribute itself or synchro this off with itself plus a plant synchro tuner monster because of Black Rose Garden. This is then going to get you into your Rage Rose Witch. This will then let you send 1 from the extra, being your Brown Ball, and 1 from the main deck, being your Glow Bulb. In doing so, you're now in a very, very good position. And again, you've summoned a card here, so you're going to be able to give your opponent another token. Again, Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. Now what you're going to do is you're going to bring back your Glow Bulb by sending the top card of your deck to the graveyard, so it doesn't matter what it is, and again, giving your opponent a 3rd token. You're now going to synchro these 2 together, and you're going to go into the Denglong, token number 4. Denglong's effect is going to grab you your Pillars of the Yangzing, but then on top of that, your White Rose, if it's sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you get to send a level 4 or higher plant monster from the deck to the grave, so you're going to send the Vengeful Witch. Then on a new chain, Vengeful Witch's effect, because it was sent to the graveyard, you get to use this effect to discard a card. So you can discard the Diabelle that you searched out earlier on, to then be able to special summon your Twilight Rose Black Knight from the deck. Again, giving your opponent that 5th and final token, and then using your Twilight Rose Black Knight to revive the Vengeful Witch. You're then going to synchro these two together, and you're going to get into a correctly summoned Bramble Rose Dragon. And now we're going to start to utilize our graveyard. So in the graveyard, we're going to be able to use our Bramble Rose Dragon's graveyard effect to be able to banish it, to then bring back a Glow Up Bulb. And in doing so, you can now synchro the successfully summoned Bramble Rose, which is really important because we're about to bring it back. And you're going to go into a Crystal Wing. Now, the final piece before you set the 9 Pillars of the Yangzing is we're going to be banishing from the graveyard our Garden Rose Maiden. And in doing so, this is then going to allow us to banish it from the graveyard and bring back our Bramble Rose. The benefit of something like this is now what we have is all of these are plants, so they can't be destroyed by card effect. We've got the Omni Negate in the Sylvie. We're going to set the 9 Pillars of the Yangzing as a counter trap. As these are all in defense, our opponent can't use their tokens to kill these cards or even kill themselves to then get up some free space. You've got your pillars to tribute off your Denglong. You've got your Monster Negate in the form of the Crystal Wing. And then, of course, your Raid Rose means that these can't be destroyed by card effect, which is really, really important. And then each time that happens, your opponent is going to be burning for 600 when they use a monster effect. They've also got the ability that if you wanted to tribute this out and go into a Black Rose Dragon, you could nuke the entire field except your monsters, because they'll all be plants. That will then destroy the Black Rose Garden. That will then burn your opponent for another 2400. And as soon as it comes back to your turn, all of these wants to switch to attack is going to push on for the OTK. You're going to have everything you need to, and you're still going to be able to have the wanted effect in the graveyard to draw you 1 random card. So your end hand as well would be 3 random cards. It could be hand traps, extenders, you name it. Not that you need to extend this field anymore, but this is like the best end field you could possibly get for this deck. So massive shout out to Trinity on this one. Absolutely loved the combo video on that. It was very, very good. Kind of showed you a more competitive value. Like, I was looking at this deck utilizing the adventure package. I was like, maybe that's the Nibiru Protected that you need more times than not. And then I saw Trinity's video and I was like, wow, okay, the Diabelle Star engine really, really works nicely. So I thought this would be a kind of a cool one. I think like I could definitely see a Akiza playing the Diabelle Star, and I think it kind of fits. Like when you look at it, it kind of fits within the Akiza lore in a sense. But yeah, if you want to see a more dedicated Akiza build, which would literally just be as I've done it previously, where it's like plants with the Rose Dragons, and it does become more Akiza themed, then let me know. Get the video above 50 likes and I'll be more than happy to do so. Like I said, I've put in the description below the link to Trinity's combo video, so you can see more combos for this deck, just kind of get a bit more invested with it and kind of work from there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.